War is not always won by bullets and bombs. Sometimes victory depends on illusion, on the art of deception. During the Second World War, Canada's soldiers became more than fighters. They became illusionists. With paint, sound, and light, they created armies that didn't exist, tanks made of canvas, and radio networks filled with ghosts. This is the untold story of the Ghost Army of Canada, the masters of deception who helped defeat the Axis powers through trickery, camouflage, and pure imagination. When World War II erupted in 1939, Canada quickly joined the fight alongside Britain and France. But as the war spread across Europe, commanders realized something. The battle wasn't only physical, it was psychological. Deception would become a weapon. While Britain formed its famous Ghost Army and camouflage units, Canada quietly began developing its own specialists, artists, engineers, and soldiers trained not just to fight, but to fool. Every soldier had a rifle. Ours were paintbrushes and amplifiers. We didn't kill the enemy. We confused them.
Before the war, many of these men were painters, sculptors, and set designers. They came from art schools, design firms, and universities, brought together by the Canadian Army to form the Camouflage Corps. In 1941, the first Canadian camouflage company was established under the Royal Canadian Engineers. Their mission? Make the real look fake and the fake look real. Using paint, chicken wire, burlap, and wood, they built entire fake airfields, gun batteries, and even dummy camps that could fool enemy reconnaissance aircraft.
The Canadian camouflage experts trained in the United Kingdom alongside the British Camouflage Directorate. They learned how to break up shapes and shadows, how to use terrain to hide movement, and how to design illusions visible only from the air. They even worked with stage magicians and film technicians, masters of misdirection.
The first large-scale test came in the deserts of North Africa. Although primarily a British theater, Canadian experts were embedded with Allied units, helping create dummy tanks and supply depots to mislead German General Erwin Rommel's intelligence. Their success was staggering. German forces bombed empty sand dunes, wasting ammunition on ghosts. In 1943, Canadian camouflage units landed in Italy. The campaign's mountainous terrain posed new challenges. The enemy held high ground. Every movement could be seen. So the Canadians adapted. They painted vehicles to blend into the rocks. They used decoys to mask troop movements. They created false road convoys and fake artillery batteries to draw enemy fire. In one operation, the Canadians built an entire fake supply base overnight, with trucks carved from wood and netting shaped to look like tanks. German reconnaissance fell for it completely.
By 1944, Allied command was preparing for Operation Overlord, the invasion of Nazi-occupied France. Before D-Day, deception became the most important weapon of all. While Britain led the famous Operation Bodyguard and Operation Fortitude, Canada's camouflage experts were part of the intricate web of deception. Their job? Ensure the Germans believed the invasion would come at Pas du Calais, not Normandy. Canadian technicians helped create dummy landing craft along Britain's coast, made of wood, canvas, and paint to mislead German aerial scouts. To the Germans, it looked like hundreds of ships were preparing to cross the Channel. In reality, most were illusions.
On June 6, 1944, D-Day, Canadian soldiers of the 3rd Division stormed Juno Beach. Behind the scenes, deception teams played a crucial role. Fake radio transmissions were broadcast from England to make it seem as if Canadian divisions were still there. Inflatable decoys remained in position, even as the real troops crossed the Channel. By the time the Germans realized the truth, it was too late. The Canadians had landed, and the deception had worked. Perhaps the most extraordinary part of the Ghost Army's work was sound. Canadian engineers used massive speakers to project fake battlefield noise, tanks rumbling, trucks moving, and artillery firing to make small units sound like entire divisions. They called it sonic warfare. At night, these sounds echoed across valleys, confusing enemy scouts and drawing fire away from real troops.
As the Allies advanced into the Netherlands, deception became crucial again. The Canadians used fake bridges, dummy artillery, and false signals to conceal their troop movements. One famous operation, Operation Manna, relied partly on deception to protect air corridors for food drops to starving Dutch civilians. When German commanders surrendered, some admitted they had no idea how many Canadian troops they were facing. The illusions had been that convincing.
After the war, most records of these operations were classified. The artists and engineers who formed Canada's Ghost Army returned to civilian life quietly, their contributions largely unknown for decades. Many went back to painting, architecture, and design. Their wartime skills turned back to peace. It wasn't until recent years that historians began to uncover the truth that Canada had built one of the most sophisticated deception units of the Allied war effort.
Today, their story is finally being told. The Ghost Army of Canada stands alongside Britain's and America's deception units as pioneers of psychological warfare. Their tactics paved the way for modern military deception, electronic warfare, and camouflage science used by armies around the world. They proved that creativity, not just firepower, could win wars. Thanks for watching this full-length documentary on the Ghost Army of Canada. If you enjoyed this story of bravery and creativity, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more Canadian military history. And tell us in the comments, which deception operation do you think was the most incredible?